Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's episode 150. Wow, 150 episodes, Jen. Feels like just yesterday we were, fumbling with the microphones?
Chuckles. I think we still are sometimes, Mark, but yeah, 150. That's kind of wild. And today, well, we're diving into something a bit less celebratory. That cyberattack that hit the Fort Bend County Library system here in Texas.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It really impacted a lot of people, and for quite a while. This happened back in March, right? And kind of just gummed everything up for weeks.
It's definitely a major concern, especially if you rely on those libraries. My mom uses her local branch all the time, so I was hearing from her about the disruption. It went far beyond just not being able to check out a book, right?
Oh, far beyond. It crippled their systems for, what did we see, nearly a month? Think about it. No checking out books, the public computers were down, no access to digital resources, everything ground to a halt. It's a huge, huge disruption to a community service.
And the cost. I saw estimations floating around about a $2.6 million impact. That's not pocket change for a county library system, especially one serving such a large area.
No, it's significant. And that number, that likely wraps up everything. We're talking system recovery, possibly bringing in outside experts to diagnose what happened, the staff time diverted. It's a material financial hit.
One of the things that really has me scratching my head, Mark, is the delayed disclosure. Reports said the library was down for weeks, but they didn't really come out and say Cyberattack until much, much later. Why the delay? What's going on there?
That's the big head scratcher for a lot of folks, including us. Officially, and you see this a lot with these kinds of incidents, the line is usually something kind of vague, like ongoing investigation. But, to be fair, cybersecurity experts, the people in the trenches dealing with this stuff, they'll tell you that kind of delay can really erode public trust.
I can see that. Residents are trying to use services, they might be unsure if their personal data is okay, and they don't even know the core of what happened. It feels like a transparency deficit, almost.
It does. Especially when you stack it up against guidelines from places like NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Their frameworks, which are pretty widely respected, really lean into prompt communication during these kinds of incidents. It's a core tenet of incident response.
And we heard from people like Stephanie Fuentes, a resident who just wants that clarity, that transparency. And Kimberly Plazonk, worried about her personal information. These are real people with real concerns being impacted.
Exactly. This isn't just an abstract technology problem. It has a human cost, a community cost.
So, diving a bit deeper into the tech side, what kind of attack are we likely talking about here? My go-to guess for public entities these days is ransomware. Is that the leading suspect?
All signs, and the experts we spoke to, point pretty strongly to ransomware. Folks like Rizwan Varani over at San Jacinto College, who knows this stuff, speculates that phishing was likely the initial entry point. And that, Jen, it's incredibly common. One wrong click on a dodgy email attachment or a link, and you've basically opened the door for the attackers to walk right in and set up shop.
Okay, wait. So, for our listeners who maybe aren't steeped in the cybersecurity world, ransomware is when the bad actors essentially take your digital stuff hostage. They lock you out of your own systems, encrypt all your data, and then demand money, a ransom, to give you the key back. Is that the gist?
That's the core of it, yes. They effectively hold your digital assets, your files, your systems, hostage. And their motivation, especially in these financial attacks, is pretty straightforward. Money. They want to get paid to unlock your data.
Given that it hit the library system, people might worry. Could this have jumped to other county departments? Was that a risk?
Here's where there's a bit of a silver lining, and it's a really important point. From what we understand, the library's network is apparently segmented, meaning it's kept separate from the rest of the county's main IT infrastructure. This is a prime example of good network segmentation, best practices in action, because it likely prevented the attack from spreading across the entire county system. Think of it like fire doors in a building.
So that segmentation, that firewalling of the network, essentially helped contain the damage to just the library system?
Precisely. If one section catches fire, those fire doors, that segmentation, helps prevent the fire from spreading to the entire building. It's not a foolproof guarantee against everything, but it's a crucial layer of defense.
And now we hear there's a criminal investigation underway by the Fort Bend DA. How does that kind of investigation work when the crime is, well, digital?
That's where digital forensics becomes absolutely paramount. They'll be digging through everything the attackers left behind digitally. We're talking system logs, analyzing network traffic patterns, looking for specific malware signatures. They're piecing together a digital trail to try and identify who was responsible. Marian Zaki, a cybersecurity professor at Houston Christian University, really stressed the importance of tracing those digital artifacts, those breadcrumbs, not just to understand the attack, but to potentially bring the perpetrators to justice.
It sounds like an incredibly complex puzzle. And is this kind of attack, is it isolated? Have we seen similar things happen to other local government entities?
Oh, Jen, this is unfortunately not an isolated incident at all. We've seen this pattern emerge repeatedly. Think back to the Port of Houston attack in 2021, for instance. That one had an even bigger price tag, reportedly over $15 million in recovery costs. These older infrastructure systems, especially those still running what's called legacy software, that older, sometimes unpatched code, become really attractive targets. Attackers know these systems can have vulnerabilities that they can exploit pretty easily for ransom.
So, it's almost like a trend? Older technology is a significant weakness?
Yes, it's definitely a contributing factor. And it highlights a much broader trend, or maybe even a warning, for communities everywhere. They need to seriously invest in updating their cybersecurity posture. It's not enough just to put up a basic firewall anymore. We're talking regular security audits, consistently patching vulnerabilities as soon as they're discovered, and, frankly, making sure their core systems aren't running on technology that's, well, practically ancient in internet years.
It feels like a clear signal about where things are headed, doesn't it? Communities are going to have to start prioritizing cybersecurity budgets on the same level they do things like road maintenance or maintaining parks.
Without a doubt. Because the cost of proactive prevention, of investing in robust cybersecurity measures before something happens, is significantly less than the cost of recovery after a major breach. And let's not forget the intangible costs. The disruption to public services, the erosion of community trust. Those are harder to put a dollar figure on, but they are very deeply felt.
It's also worth considering the human element in preventing these attacks. While modernized systems are essential, what about training the people who use these systems every day? Could focusing solely on technology upgrades miss a crucial part of the puzzle?
That's a really valid point, Jen. While upgrading the tech is critical, you can have the best digital locks in the world. But if someone leaves the window open, you're still vulnerable. Training staff on cybersecurity best practices, things like how to spot a phishing email, what to do if they suspect something is wrong, is a huge piece of the defense strategy. Human error is often cited as the starting point for so many of these incidents. A single click, and suddenly the gate is open.
Right, so it's a two-pronged approach, strong technology and well-trained people. But then you get into the budget question again. Could prioritizing cybersecurity and extensive training actually lead to other essential public services being underfunded?
That's the delicate balancing act, isn't it? Communities have finite resources. You need functioning roads, good schools, parks, and robust cybersecurity. There's a potential for reallocation discussions, where you have to ask, are we taking funds away from something equally vital to pay for digital defenses? It becomes a conversation about risk assessment and societal priorities.
It needs to be a balanced approach, you're right. Every community has slightly different needs. Going back to the delayed disclosure. While some see it as a transparency issue, could there be a different interpretation? Could the delay have been genuinely justified to protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation?
That's definitely a perspective that law enforcement and investigators often emphasize. Releasing information too early could potentially tip off the attackers that they've been detected, giving them time to cover their tracks, destroy digital evidence, or move assets. The Department of Justice, for example, has guidelines emphasizing maintaining the integrity of investigations. So, there's a tension between the public's right to know and the needs of the investigation to succeed and bring the perpetrators to justice. It's not a simple good guy/bad guy scenario on the disclosure front.
So it's a complex dance between transparency for the public and strategic silence for the investigation. It highlights that there isn't always one immediate right answer in these unfolding situations.
Precisely. It's a tough call with different valid concerns on each side. So to wrap things up on this incident in Fort Bend, we've got a significant cyber attack, likely ransomware, a criminal investigation trying to piece together digital evidence, questions about transparency and delayed disclosure, strong indicators that the library's network segmentation helped contain the damage, and a broader lesson about the need for public entities to invest in technology and personnel training to bolster their cybersecurity posture.
That about covers it, Mark. A challenging situation for Fort Bend County, and a cautionary tale for communities everywhere about the evolving landscape of digital threats. It sounds like the conversation around cybersecurity in public services is only going to grow.
Indeed. It's a critical discussion for the future of public infrastructure and services. Thanks for breaking that down with me, Jenny.
Anytime, Mark. It's important to talk through these issues. And thank you all for listening to episode 150. We'll catch you next time.